So welcome back. We continue our workshop on innovation under the umbrella of European Digital Treasures Conference workshop. And we continue with a very interesting topic. And Joan Andreu Sánchez and Enrique Vidal gave us a deeper insight the secrets of handwritten text recognition. So formally, I presented. Joan Andreu introduced him during the panel discussion. So my responsibility left to introduce Enrique too. So Enrique, show yourself, please. Okay, so Enrique Vidal is an emeritus professor of the Universitat Politècnica de Valencia and former co-leaders of this Pattern Recognition and Human Language Technologies Research Center. So he was very active in publishing academic articles. He's the author of more than 250 research papers, mainly in the fields of pattern recognition, multimodal interaction, and applications to language speak and image processing. He led a lot of important projects in these fields too, and in the last 15 years, Professor Vidal has focused on research in the area of handwritten document analysis and lead development of this approach, which applied in our project to this probability indexing technology. So actually their demonstration will be about this and how these two researchers and the company Transcriptorium provided this solution in the European Digital Treasures project for the participating archives. So that was my role, and I give the floor now from Joan Andreu to continue. So please.
Okay, thank you, Sultan. My name is Joan Andreu Sánchez, and I will be presenting this part of this hands-on session that is divided into parts. The first part, I will explain, I will talking on the first part, and my colleague Enrique will be speaking in the second part. The first part is devoted to explain some issues related with the handwritten text recognition process, HTR for short. And my colleague Enrique will explain a new technology that we have been developing, that is called probabilistic indexing, that is ideal for locating information in large collections, mainly, okay? Enrique will explain new ideas, okay? So, my talk will be two parts. In the first part, I will explain some preliminary concepts related with HTR, handwritten text recognition, HTR, and the process of preparing training material for developing this an HTR system that sometimes is carried out by the staff that is working in an archive. Okay. I will be explaining this topic, considering that you have some knowledge, preliminary knowledge. You can imagine, I think that most of you know what is OCR, so I will be emphasizing the differences between OCR and HTR in order to clarify some of the data. Of course, please, if you have any question along my talk, just interrupt me and I will try to clarify any doubt that you have, okay? So, both Enrique and myself are professors at the Universidad Politécnica de Valencia, and recently we created a company for bringing this technology to the market, because some time ago, some archives were, from some time ago, several archives and other institutions were contacting us for asking for solutions for the problems related with handwriting text recognition. And at the end, we decided to create this company in order to provide a solution, to give a solution to these companies, because the technology was mature enough for at least to give solutions to some of the problems. Okay. Okay. So this is the short index of my introduction, and at the end, the last half hour will be devoted to some exercises that and to clarify and to try to answer your doubts about the problem of the preparation of training data. Okay, so Transcriptorium, the company that I mentioned, is a spin-off from the Universitat Politécnica de Valencia that was created less than 9 months ago, okay? Like a baby, more or less. Okay. So the idea, the EDT project contracted us with the idea of to make large handwriting collections searchable. With large, we mean collections composed from thousands of images to even millions of images. And it is important to clarify this point, because sometimes some scholars approach to us in order to transcribe a book. So the technology that we are developing currently is not thought for transcribing small books, because the amount of time needed for preparing the system and the cost is too large, and it is better to hire a paleographer to prepare some special edition. And EDT also contacted us to develop a platform to involve users in a crowdsourcing initiative for trying to locate information in large collections. Okay? The approach that we use is the current technology that is used for many problems related with big data. So we are using machine learning techniques. That this is a fashion name for all the problems and techniques, and we have developed a new technology that is called Probabilistic Indexing, that is able to provide not only one solution, one transcript solution for a line or for a text, but embed solutions. In some ways, a kind of word distribution. In the EDT project, we wanted to transcribe. We were hired to transcribe, to work with 5 collections from different countries. One from Hungary, one from Malta, Norway, Portugal, and Spain. And the amount of images, it's important to distinguish between image and page, because you know that sometimes an image may contain 2 or more pages. So In the case of Hungary, the collection was composed by more than 120,000 images, more or less, or more. For Malta, I don't know, maybe 100 images, more or less. And Norway, I think that the amount of images was, I don't know, 100,000 more or less. And for Portugal and Spain, the collection was smaller, but also composed by thousands of images. But from this collection, we reduced the subsets in order to make affordable this small project, okay, with them, okay. So here you have the amount of pages that we processed for each collection, according to our discussions. Here you have some of the collections, some samples. Let me explain one of the singularities of these collections. In the case of the Spanish collection, is a collection composed of visas from a consulate based in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and this collection is from the period of this collection is along the Civil War, from 1936 to 1939. Each page has 4 visas. These are a kind of forms with printed text and handwritten text, with photographs, several hands, and the Spanish archive was interested in transcribing all the information that is included in each image. The idea is as you can imagine, this collection is plenty of proper names, surnames, locations, dates, and numbers. Okay. In the case of this is the Spanish collection, a sample of the Spanish collection. This is a sample of the left bottom. You can see an example of the Hungary collection. In this case, this is a kind of tabular information, some kind of cadastre, something similar to that, and they were mainly interested in the information related with proper names that is located in the left part of the collection. This the information that is located in the leftmost column. In this case, there is no all the information is handwritten, because in the case of the Spanish collection, part of the text is printed and the other part is handwritten, and they were interested in getting all the information, both the printed and the handwritten. I will explain later why this is interesting. In the case of the Norwegian collection, I think this is a kind of also a cadastre related with people, and they were interested in the proper names that are located on the top. These are surnames and proper names. I will show later these images in more detail. This is a kind of card, and each card is rated with 2 people, one on the left and another one on the right. Okay. And on the left column, there are printed text related with the person, like a name, I don't know if age, maybe age, something like that. Okay. In this case, we have both printed text and handwritten text. Here in the middle, you have an example of the Malta Collection. These are lists of people arriving to Malta around I don't know, maybe about 1945 and the following years. Okay. After the Second World War, okay? And here the main information is proper names, surnames, and the plain information or the ship information, okay? And also the date. This collection is characterized because so when the information is repeated, they used to write quotes in order to say that the information was repeated in the line that is above each line. Okay, and this is an example of the Malta collection. Sorry, the Portuguese collection. That in this case is running text, plenty of abbreviations, difficult handwriting style, with many marginalia, warped text, slanted, sloped, all the things that you can imagine. In the case of the Malta collection, had an additional problem that is related with insects. There were many holes related with worms, I think, something like that. That can be confused when this is scanned with some kind of, I don't know, maybe a mark, something like that. So this is the main characteristics of these collections. So the idea is, for preparing an HTR system, it is necessary to annotate data. Because as I said, the techniques that we are using are based on machine learning techniques. So there is a clear rule for all these techniques. The more data, the better results. But preparing data is expensive because it has to be prepared by experts. Okay? So here you have an example of this is the real situation. We have here is an example of a visa from the Spanish collection, okay, in which this is an image. So we are not able to look for information in this kind of images. And here you have relevant information related to these people. Note that in this collection we have also photographs. For this collection, we didn't take into account the information related with the photograph because it would be possible also to look for information related with the image-based retrieval. Okay, but we ignore this information. But this information was appropriately annotated. Okay, so here you have information related with the passport, figures. Here you can see some, I don't know, you are able to see a stamped date, okay? This is the name as surname. In Spanish we have both surnames. Sometimes the name runs along one line, two lines. Rarely in this collection the names are hyphenated, but it can happen. This is the place where the people was born. This is the meaning of this word means item. This means that this person was from this city that is based in this state or province. So this means Malaga. The semantics of this word is Malaga, okay? This is important because I will explain later the ground truth preparation, and the system is able to translate and to transcribe this as Malaga, given the information associated to the left of the line. given the context. Okay. This is how old was the person? In this case, 57. Look at this 5 because it's quite difficult. This is the place where she was born, and this is the job. In this case, is homemaker. Sometimes it's written as labores, and sometimes is shortened as lab, L-A-B. That is an abbreviated form for labores. And here you have the address, reasons for the travel, for the trip. In this case, this means family, familia in Spanish. Sometimes this word is abbreviated as fam, okay? And this means nothing. Spain, and this is the information related with the document that she presented for demonstrating her nationality and personal information. Okay. Okay. So here is the information that we have, and this is what we want. Here you have the word pasaporte, the word that are written here, the words that are written here. Okay. So ideally, an HTR system, we would like that the system provides this information, because this is text, plain text, and this is searchable. Okay, in this case, even this plain text is enriched with additional information like tags that reveals some semantics about the words. This is printed, okay, this is printed. This is a date, for example, 1st of July or June, 1936, okay. This is print text, okay. This is a given name, sorry, but the image is cut here, Matilde. This is the surname. Okay, so given these tags and this plain text, it would be quite nice to look for information in. Okay, let's say that we want to locate a family, a relative, which whose name was Matilde, and whose surname was Otone. I don't know, Ruiz. Okay. So, but HTR system currently are not able to obtain this information in this accurate way. Okay? Why? Because sometimes the text blocks are not correctly detected. Sometimes because the lines are not correctly detected. Because sometimes incorrect words are recognized, sometimes because the tags are incorrect, sometimes because the abbreviated words are not expanded, or sometimes because the reading order is incorrect. Okay, all of them. So this is the ideal situation, but the reality is different. Okay, that is why after some years working on this, we have seen that it is better not to limit the recognition process to just to provide one solution, but to provide the n best solutions, where n can be as large as the HTR system developer can decide. And this is a more richer information that we have been exploited, and my colleague Enrique will explain later. Here I will explain the intricacies related with the training information. The information? Yeah, I have here. Okay. The information that is needed for this. So, thank you. Okay. So, the idea that will be presented later is for each word, not to provide just one hypothesis, but a list of hypotheses sorted by relevance. For example, in this word, the first, if you use just the one verse transcript, the word that you get is Bafia. But it is incorrect because the correct word is Brafia, is this one. So if you limit the recognition process to the best hypothesis, this is the solution that you get. But with the probabilistic indexing solution, you are able to obtain a list of hypotheses sorted by confidence. Okay. Okay. So one important point related with this is the preparation of the ground truth. Okay. The ground truth preparation for preparing an HDR system consists mainly on annotating the layout of the images and the transcripts for each line. This is the main information, okay? It is not realistic to think on using a general model for both things, because each collection is different each of other, okay? If you want to get good solutions, it is better to invest in creating a ground truth material, because the results that you get can improve a lot. Okay. In the case of the Spanish collection, I will limit my explanation only to the Spanish collection because all the other collections are similar. The information in this case was the annotation that was performed in this case was annotating a block for each visa, and just the baseline for each line in the visa. What is a baseline? The baseline is an imaginary underline associated to each image. This is only the information that we need. It is not necessary to be too much accurate, because it is a trade-off between accuracy and the amount of training data. Okay, in the demonstration, I will show how to prepare a page for ground truth. In this case, also we annotated also the photographs in order to allow the layout analysis system to detect the photographs. In this case, the photographs could be located at the top or at the bottom, and in some passports and in some visas, sometimes there were not only one photograph but more photographs. Okay. Something similar was performed for the other collections. Here in the Hungary collection, we annotated the leftmost column with baselines. Also, for the Hungary collection, we annotated the region for the main proper name, one block for the left, for this left part of the card, and another block for this right, and then the baselines were annotated. Okay. And see, this is what we performed for the Spanish collection. Okay, so how is the ground truth prepared? Once we have the blocks, then we need to annotate line images and the corresponding transcript. Okay, so imagine this is an example of a line image and the transcript. This is the image that we extract once the baseline is annotated. Okay, we can define several methods for extracting the lines depending on the collection. In this case, we took an easy solution, and we took some pixels above and below the baseline. That was enough. And this is the annotation that we have. Look at this. This is the word that is written here. Here you have, if you want to include semantic information for searching and for further processes, it is important to include this tagging, a kind of tagging like this. Okay, this is a tagging defined for each collection. So in our case, we are not, it is quite easy to change this string for another string. This means print, okay? Of course, the tags could be nested, but this means that more data would be necessary for training the model, okay? This tag means age, printed text, and in the case of no information, we write in something like that, okay? This means in single, okay? The civil state for Spanish single, okay? Civil state, yes, maybe, yes. I think that we associated here, yes, sorry, I omitted here, but we included here a tag. This means printed, and this is job, okay? This tagging system is similar to XML, okay? So that's more than enough for us, okay? Okay, some considerations related with the ground truth preparation. Some, in our case, in Transcriptorium, and also in our research group, we have been preparing ground truth for ourselves, because sometimes archives want to prepare the ground truth because they have transcripts. But the usual situation is that these transcripts are not prepared for handwritten text recognition. Okay, so at the end, the effort needed for using this information doesn't pay off. Okay, and it is better to invest money for preparing a good ground truth. Okay. Anyway, if for some collection we have additional textual material, this can be very useful, because at the end, the HTR system that is composed of two parts, the optical model and the language model, both the language model can be trained, beta trained, if textual material is available. Okay. One of the important things to know is that ground truth has to be very, very, very uniformly prepared. Otherwise, the system learns to all the inconsistencies that appears in the transcripts. For example, let's imagine that some people write here a tag, here a blank space, and then a D, half and a half. Then the system learns that, and half of the predictions will have a blank, and half of the predictions will not have a blank. Okay, and this is just an example. So it's quite important to be consistent. So, because the system learns what is written in the image. So important lessons is include blanks, just for mention a few, okay? It's important to include the blanks only when necessary. Expand always the abbreviations. Use diacritics consistently, and use capitalizations consistently. Just for mention a few. In a report that will be provided, that is being prepared for you, for the EDT project, that Miguel Ángel will have in short, there are more things related with this, okay? At the end, an important lesson is that ground truth preparing is time-consuming, so in our case, we prefer to prepare the ground truth, the transcriptorium, because I repeat, at the end, we can lose a lot of time preparing the ground truth, because the lack of uniformity. Okay. So let's now I am explaining how to prepare the ground truth for a page. Okay. For this process, there are at least two tools. One is the transcribus tool that is provided by the ReadCop, and this other tool that is NY page editor. Okay, that is located in these two addresses. I gave this information to Miguel Angel just in case you are not able to see. Okay, you can download it and try to install it. In the case of transcribus is quite easy. In the case of NY page editor, this is more tricky. Okay, but for transcriptorium, for preparing handwriting recognition, these tools, or even simpler you have, is more than enough. Because at the end, what we need, and for HTR, what we need is blocks and baselines, and that's all. Because if you try to prepare an accurate ground truth, it's too expensive. Too expensive, and it is better to have more data. Okay? Okay, so let me explain how to annotate an image, okay? The tool is here, but you can use also this version that you can use, that you can test in this address. Let me wait a minute. This is the address. So the tool that I am explaining now can be installed on your own desktop, okay, to work alone, or you can install in a server, and then several people can work at the same time. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Now, so let me show how to annotate a page, just one page. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Here you can download. You can mark a region like this. Test region. Create. Okay. Create. And then I am here preparing a region like this. This information is more than enough, not too much accurate. Okay, and now, once we have a block, we need only to mark up the baselines. A baseline is like an underline below each line that you want to transcribe. Okay, like this. This is enough. Baseline create. Sorry, I don't know. Maybe because we are working at the same time. Baseline create. Create. Okay. Baseline. Create. Sorry. No. So, but once we have the baseline, we need to write the transcript associated to each image. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Now. Okay. Sorry, but I think that. Okay. Here I have another one. Another one. Another one. Another one. As you can see, it's not necessary to be extremely accurate. And now I am transcribing one of the lines. Let's see, for example, this one. This one, okay? So now I am writing the text. Okay. Text line, okay, here. Text. Vale. Okay. So. Oh, sorry. Text. I don't know if you are able to see, it's quite small, sorry for that. But I can write here P. Matilde Otone. For example, I can use this for given name. This is a surname, for example, or with 2 T's. Okay, and that's all. Let me show another way of preparing this information, okay? You can use also the transcribers tool, okay? So, something like that. Transcribers tool was developed in the Transcribers in the READ project. Okay, this is a tool that was prepared for preparing ground truth. Is, in our opinion, it has too many options, because at the end, what we need mainly is regions and baselines. Okay, so you can work in this with this tool against a server or in your own desktop without any Wi-Fi connection. Okay, so let me open this this collection. This is the same document, but with the transcribers collection. And in this case, we only need to annotate again regions and baselines. Okay, something like that, like this. Test region, something like that. Okay, and then baselines. So region, this is a region. Here you see the region. Text region like this, sorry. And baselines, something like this, like this, like this, like this, and then the transcripts is here. The same information here. Here, here. and you annotate the data the same way, nombre y apellidos with tags, and that's enough. And this is the information, mainly the information that an HTR system needs. That's all. You can include additional information, more sophisticated tags, nested tags, special regions, but you have to consider that the more variability you want in your collection, the more data you have to annotate. And that's the problem. Okay? And that's all. Questions? Because the following part will be explained by my colleague Enrique. Questions? Doubts?
Yes, hello. So this is very interesting, and since I'm coming from the world of maps, I have a question. How would this technology be used for digitizing text from maps? Would this be useful, or does it have to be a formatted form to be useful?
But these tools?
Yes.
I think that Transcribus has some facilities for annotating more complex documents like tables, for sure, but not sure for maps. At least for if you have in the map handwritten text, of course you can annotate the information. You can also mark special parts with a special tag that is called drawings. But I think many of the, I think that for more complex documents, some of the parts of Transcribus have to be tested.
Thank you.
Okay. Just partly answering Gregor. So my experience, the user of this technology, what Joan Andreu Enrique provided us, I think there is no difference at all. So as far as I know, the archival document, maps as archival documents, there is no difference.
And Joan Andreu, is there any possibility to retrieve the images or take information about the photo, or only the text? I mean, you cannot contextualize the photo or in any way to take information about the picture, the photograph, because I see that the program identified the photo.
Yes. In this case, what we did for this collection was quite easy, because we only annotated the region for the photograph with just without any tag. Of course, it could be annotated with more detailed information, but at least for image for retrieval documents according to the photographs, I think that the mark that we included would be more than enough. In fact, this could be quite interesting to, for example, it would be quite interesting to see if the same person asked for 2 visas in this collection, but we didn't perform any experiment on this. Anyway, in any case, we would need more data for training the images, because the amount of training data for images is not too large.
Any further questions?
For example, an interesting thing would be to locate documents according to some stamps that can be located in the images. Not a photograph, but a stamp.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So this approach, this keyword spotting, is very good, very adequate for the archival need when we would like to find something in a huge amount of data. So and it's what kind of it's one specific kind of user need. Of course, there is another one when archives would like to integrate this into our own services. For example, if we would like to integrate this into the Archives Portal Europe, what should we need? So what is this, the limits of this technology in integration?
The information that we prepare is quite plain. So if you're asking how to integrate this kind of information in...
Actually, I think, and I experience it as we did it, I get an XML from you, an XML file.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would like to use it in my services, integrating with other metadata, other kind of thing.
The question of format is not a problem, because it's just a question of language processing. So compilers, okay? To provide information in other formats is quite easy, not problem with that. In fact, I think that we provided this information to other archives in JSON, for example, or in. But the question of the format is not a problem. We are working on plain text, and to transform this information in other formats is quite easy. For example, one of the things that we have to sort out for integration indexes in another portal was how to deal with probabilistic indexes, because the possibility to have alternatives for transcripts were not well supported. I am not telling the truth really, because I think that in some of the formats, I don't know which format, Alto maybe Alto, or some of the formats can have the possibility of include different alternatives for a transcript.
But if you are talking about the photograph?
No, not photograph. I'm talking about the text. So whether it's possible to integrate this XML layer into the image as a normal layered PDF file and make searchable this way for the users.
Dealing with the text is not a problem, if you're asking this, because it's just a question of formatting. In fact, the recognition system, I didn't mention the result that we get for these collections, but the HTR results for character level range from 6% for the Norwegian collection to 15 for the Malta collection, I think. Character, okay? For word error rate, it ranges from 12, I think, to 35, I think. It depends on the amount of training data, of course. But in this error rate, I am including also the tags. The tags in general are quite well predicted, and the integration of this information in any archive portal would depend on the specifications. But it is not a problem.
Okay, and questions from the audience? Okay, then if not, I cannot see anybody. I have to ask finally, because I think it's an interesting question. So what do you find in this project, or found is this project with working together with these archives really challenging? So what is easy, what is hard in this approach?
What is easy and what is?
What is hard to solve? What do you think? What
Okay,
are the things which cannot be?
In a collaboration with the EDT project, for us, the ground truth preparation was quite confusing. Not confusing, it was time consuming, because we had to agree which kind of information you wanted to get. Okay.
Okay, just to explain it. So ground truth preparation was made by the archivists.
Yeah.
So this is why Joan
Yeah,
Andreu
sorry.
said that it was the challenging part, working together with the archivists.
Okay, when we are working with an archive, the ground truth preparation is tricky because it has to be prepared carefully. We have experience on that. I think that the archives will gain experience in the future, but it takes time. The entry ticket is expensive, but at least once one archive knows the problem associated to the ground truth creation, the things are easier. Okay, and of course for us the easy part is the part that we are able to work with. There's recognition and things like that are not difficult.
And regarding the records, so didn't find any extra challenge you never met before?
No, because fortunately some of our people have been testing special techniques for specific layouts, and the layout recognition results for the records for us was really quite interesting. Speaking from the layout analysis point of view, of course. So the results, we are satisfied with the results.
So I think it's
one of the hardest tasks for the future is one of the topics that was mentioned this morning, that is related about how to extract semantics and information from the documents. To establish links, to discover the reading order, to classify the documents according to their contents, because you know, sometimes the pages, for example, imagine I don't know, a record from the Portuguese collection, in which one of the records starts in one page and ends in the following page, or so discovering this reading order is one of the challenging things.
Okay, in that collection, for example, which is a running text, you think that there is an option to improve the current technology or current approach with the natural language technology, for example,
for the Portuguese collection, or for which collection?
For the Portuguese, because it's a running text.
Yeah, for the Portuguese collection, one of the problems is that it has a lot of abbreviations, hyphenated words, and difficult layout sometimes, because sometimes in some images part of the left or right image is included in the image. So the system, but we are satisfied with the results because we were able to separate both information. But locating proper names and things like that, name it entities, can be done, but we will need more training data. Because in the case of the Portuguese collection, this collection was annotated without any tag. So this collection could improve a lot for detecting name entities if the collection was annotated with tags.
Yes.
But,
Enrique?
But even without tags, there are a lot of things that can be done with this collection. Like, for instance, once you have not the transcript, because the reading order is a problem and the amount of errors is high and so on, but when you have the probabilistic indexes, you can, for instance, do clustering and try to discover which kinds of registers are there. This is one thing that can be done. Another thing that can be done is to segment the books into registers. I don't know how they call the unit of information. Because sometimes a register is half a page, other times you have a register that encompasses several pages, and this can be automatically segmented according to a semantic unity, which is a register. So a lot of semantic information can be automatically discovered from the... Of course, this is not a product. In Transcriptorium, we are not selling that, but in the university, we are doing research that tell us that we are there. We can do clustering, we can do document classification according to context, to content, and so on, without having the explicit transcript with a detailed word-by-word transcription. I have something to say about that in my part. I will insist in that.
I think it was a good start or a good ending for this session, and you can join us now for the next part.
Te lo estoy dejando, sí. Ahí tienes, arriba del todo tienes esto, debajo de la esquina de la ventana. Tienes dos partes, arriba, aspecto, debajo, ventana.
Okay, so the second part of this hands-on session is about probabilistic indexing. So I have prepared some background about probabilistic indexing, but first of all, I'm going to go directly to this view graph in order to start discussing the differences between automatic transcription and probabilistic indexing. Because this is, I know this is a confusing distinction in the community, and so I wanted to make it clear so that we all are in the same ground when I talk about probabilistic indexing. Automatic transcription generally comes out after layout analysis, while in general probabilistic indexing is layout agnostic. You can do probabilistic indexing without doing any layout analysis, and in fact some new techniques for layout analysis come after probabilistic indexing, because then you have some lexical information and then you can exploit the lexical information in order to better discover the layout. Another thing is automatic transcription strictly needs carefully detected lines, which is sometimes this is fragile because most of the practical errors in handwriting recognition come most or many, at least many, perhaps half of the errors that you find in practice are not handwriting recognition errors, but errors related with poor or errorful detection of the lines where the text are. In contrast, probabilistic indexing can be done without layout analysis. But for typical collections where you can do some line detection, then line detection helps if it is accurately enough. Otherwise, you can rely a bit on line detection, but it's not mandatory. Another difference is that automatic transcription provides, as the result of an automatic transcription system, is a unique text interpretation of the image that is a sequence of words that is assumed to be the best interpretation of the strokes that you find in the image. But for the same models, the output of a probabilistic indexing process is not a text, it's a probabilistic distribution of words and size of the words and the position of the words in the images. So you get, in fact, a probabilistic index is kind of the same image you have, but represented in a probabilistic manner in a different form. so that you get some lexical information about the image and some positioning of the words and so on in the image. This is probably the most important difference between these two technologies. The output of this is a sequence of words, and the output of this is a probabilistic distribution. It's a different thing. The output of an automatic transcription system is purportedly given in reading order. But I say purportedly because in general you fail to provide the transcript in reading order, because reading order is elusive in most handwritten text image collections. In contrast, probabilistic indexing is reading order agnostic because you don't care about the reading order, you only put a word in any position of the image. So this is another important difference. The output of an HTR system is plain text or formatted in HTML or JSON or something, but essentially is plain text. Of course, if it were accurately enough, it can be directly used in many applications, and you can apply all natural language processing technologies that is available and so on. In contrast, well, this is a plus, but it depends on the accuracy of the automatic transcription. In contrast, probabilistic indexing does not provide any text as output. The output is just the images marked with bounding boxes where the word probably are. So you don't get text from probabilistic indexing, you get positions of lexical items. The text is provided by yourself when you do the search. You search for a word and you type the word, this is the text. And the system provides you as a result the image, not the text. Of course, you can do something like this double click that we do in our demonstrators and you get some text. But this is secondary. The essential thing is that you don't get any text. You get just the image. Okay? This is the basic form. Of course, you can elaborate. So this is a minus, this is a plus, and this is a minus. But on the other hand, this is fragile and this is robust. This is you have one good and one bad in any case. Automatic transcripts usually yields a fixed low precision recall performance. That is to say, in terms of searching performance, you do searching using the unique text interpretation that an HTR system provides of your image, then you typically get low precision recall performance as compared with probabilistic indexing, where you get typically several points better precision recall performance using the same models trained from the same training data. So yes, you have automatic transcription, you can do search, but you get low precision recall, and you can do any other things, like for instance you can apply natural language analysis and so on the transcript, but that is fragile because typically the output of this unique text interpretation is error prone. On the other hand, if you do probabilistic indexing, you don't get text as output, you get just a probabilistic distribution, and you can extract information from there somehow. You can do that. You can use that directly for searching, as we'll play now in a minute, or you can do many other things of information extraction that I will explain in another minute. Okay. Okay. So go back to the presentation. We need probabilistic indexing because transcription is not accurate enough for searching, and so probabilistic indexing is kind of obtaining a heat map of each image where you have for each word the probability that the word is written in this point, in this pixel of the image. So in this case, this is for the word matter, and then you have these 3 peaks in the heat map, and this is small peak because this word is similar to matter, but is not exactly the same. Okay, using the adequate technology, you get this. You get this kind of heat map. From this heat map, you can extract those bounding boxes of small regions where the words probably are, and then tag or mark each bounding box with a probability, which is the peak, for instance, the higher probability or the average probability of this region. In this case, you get a probabilistic index. So a probabilistic index is essentially the set of bounding boxes where you have find some peaks in the heat map, accompanied with their probability information, which in this case is marked as a color. Okay, this is a real thing. For the words matter and matters, are marked here in colors, the color according to the probability. So this region corresponds to these two bounding boxes. These are the bounding boxes, okay, and this is the probability. This is the word or pseudo word, because you index every sequence of characters that is likely to be a word. So in most cases they are real words, but in other cases, like I don't know, like here for instance, you have something that is not a word or this one. Okay, but you index everything that is likely to be a word with more or less probability. And here you have, for instance, in this region, you have matters with high probability and matter with low probability. Here you have matter for this, and for this. So the probabilistic index essentially is this list of lines, and each line we call each of these lines a spot. A spot is composed of the identity of the word or the pseudo word, the probability, and the bounding box. And in practice also some information that tells in which page or in which image of which collection, of which folder it is the information. Okay. This is here you have a real probabilistic index for one of the images of the Portuguese EDT collection, and here you have the full probabilistic index of this page. As you can see, green is high probability, red is low probability, so the parts of the image which are more problematic to read for a human, like this and this is more clear, then they get lower probabilities in the indexing process, and if you look carefully at these parts, you will see many alternatives. Not only alternatives of different interpretation in terms of characters, but also different interpretation in terms of bounding boxes where the information is. Okay, so this is the real probabilistic index of an image. If the image has other parts or other things, everything that can be interpreted as a text is indexed. Okay, we have seen already that one. This is the practical implementation of a search interface using a probabilistic index. From the images you get the probabilistic indexes. This is the difficult part. Once you have the probabilistic indexes, you put them into an adequate database, and then you use the search engine of this database in order to find the information that the user asks for. So this user interface has to retrieve the information from the database and the image from the image collection, and then show them to the user. This is what you see in the demonstrators we have implemented for your collections. So this part is carried out offline. Typically, it needs heavy computation, but once you have these probabilistic indexes, which are text in essence, then you can do very extremely fast search on the database. Okay, this is why you get those search engines and search demonstrators that are that fast. In order to these complex parts require a lot of technology which is borrowed from handwritten recognition, like optical models and language models. So you have to first train the models from training data, which are supposed to be done here, and then using these models you do the indexing. Okay, So you need training data, and in order to produce training data, you do the same as for handwritten recognition. From the images, a user annotates the images with the content, with the textual content, and then this content is provided along with the corresponding image to the model training software, which provides optical modeling and language modeling. Okay. Another role of the user, well, the result of this process is called ground truth. Okay. Another role of the user to create ground truth, or another use of the ground truth, is to evaluate the quality of this. So how well does perform this part in particular, these probabilistic indexes. So in order to evaluate this, then again we use the ground truth provided by the user in order to compare the results provided by the probabilistic indexing technology with the annotation of the user. And with that, we obtain the so-called precision recall curve, from which we also compute the average precision, which is the standard metric to assess the quality of the result. We'll talk a bit about precision recall here. Precision is high if most of the retrieval results are correct, and recall is high if most of the existing correct results are retrieved. You understand that? That is the essentials of the precision recall metric. So we can represent any operational point of the system in this plane, where here you have the recall and here you have the precision. If you had a perfect transcription of your images, then you will be able to obtain perfect recall. That is to say, all the relevant words can be retrieved, and perfect precision. You don't fail to say that a word which is, I don't know, word is another word which is, I don't know, potato. Okay. Then this corresponds to this point in the precision recall map chart. Then if you apply automatic transcription at HTR, then you get a point like this with some recall and some precision. And so this corresponds to an average precision, essentially is the area of this rectangle, which is, in this case, for this example, will be 0.6, okay? Then if you do our probabilistic indexing, then what you get is a lot of points which draw this curve. And so you can, by varying the confidence threshold, you can put yourself here or here. That is to say, you can trade precision for recall. You can try to obtain a lot of precision, sacrificing some recall, or you can be content with a low precision and getting a high recall. So this is the idea of a search engine using probabilistic indexes. So the average precision of this curve is again the area under the curve, and in this case will be 0.8. This is why I said that automatic transcription typically provide poor search performance, which is this 0.6, as compared with a similar system for probabilistic indexing, which in this case will provide 0.8 performance. Okay. So this is the end of my talk, and now is your turn of working. So I have prepared some. I know I am late, so I don't have a lot of time. I don't know how many time I have left. Maybe 20 minutes, 15 minutes or so. So in these 15 minutes, we can try to do some of these exercises. There are two exercises that are not related with EDT, and then all the EDT collections here. For those which are not related with EDT, like this, it is completely prepared, and you don't need me to do these exercises, but I will show you here you have the thing. Okay. This is the famous Benham collection. Benham was a philosopher, or I don't know how to call him, English philosopher of the last century, or 2 centuries ago, that wrote a lot about laws, about prisons, about well, many things related with politics, but didn't get to print anything. So all of his work is stored in digital images, and here is the full collection. You have almost 100,000 images in 193 boxes, and then you can search for information here. I don't know, you can look for the word Maria or any word you want to search, and then you find immediately places where this word is supposed to be writing. This is using the probabilistic indexing technology. And here you have the exercises. You click here, and then you get a proposal of searching for information. In this case, this is random, and which pair of Benham paper boxes are probably the most relevant to find information about the Spanish Constitution. So, how do you look for that information? Is your job. Here you have the level of difficulty. Here is medium. You can get a hint as to how to attack or how to perform this search, and then in the end you click one of them, send, and you get an explanation of how the correct results can be obtained. Okay. For instance, in this case, I get a hint here. I don't know if you can read that. In fact, it is very small. I don't read it myself. Better now. Search for a combination of words such as Spain, Spanish, etc., and Constitution. So you can try to do things like Spain or Spanish, sorry, Spanish, followed by, so this is an and, the and is expressed like this, and Constitution. Constitution. Ah. Spanish, I'm sorry. Then you get a lot of boxes, but you have here the number of hits in this, expected hits in this box. They may be hits or not, they may be correct or not, so you have to explore, but you already have an idea, and using these numbers you can make a guess, and then open the box and search for some images and so on, in order to answer the question. In this case, I don't know, I will try to this one is promising, this one is promising, this one is more promising. So 167, or maybe this one. Anyway, you make your guess, and then you click here, probably this is wrong, and then you have here a full explanation of how the answer can be obtained. Okay? So I leave you these exercises for you. So you now get a new challenge, another question, and similar like that. With the explanation and with the help and examples that you get here, you get enough information on how to find information in a complex collection like this. This has no any kind of tag, semantic tag, so this is a plain text, not semantically tagged. So only things that you can do is to use Boolean combination of words, sequences of words. Also, you can use approximate spelling and wildcards. With all these tools, you can look for the information. This is one thing. The other one that I have prepared is a similar quiz, but in this case it's in Spanish. It's about the a collection of the Biblioteca Nacional de España, which is called Teatro del Siglo de Oro. It's not the full collection. The full collection is much larger, but it already had a lot of. We can go a bit. You get 188 and 82 manuscripts of known authors and more than 100 of unknown authors. And so again, you have here your challenges. In this case, ¿en qué ciudades se representó? You have to read Spanish because this is everything in Spanish. ¿Qué ciudades se representó como demuestran sus licencias la contienda de García Paredes? La contienda de García Paredes is the title of a play, of a manuscript, of a book, and the question is in which cities was played this play. You already get here a hint that this is typical. You will find this information in the license that accompany any book. So you have to find the licenses and so on. Again, you have here a hint, and you do something. In this case, I have by chance. And then you have an explanation of how to obtain this information. Okay? These are the search exercises that I wanted you to play here, but we don't have time to play, and then you ask me questions and so on. But you have my email here. No, it's not here. Okay, I'm sorry. I will provide the email to the organizers, and so that you get my email and ask me any question you want afterwards. Well, another thing that I wanted you to play, or we to play together, but probably have no much time, is to do some exercises on the concrete EDT collections. In particular, all these four, which are already available in the corresponding search interfaces. From these collections, Norway, Hungary, and also Malta to some extent, it's not here, are not very rich in terms of information that you can ask for. So you can ask typically only for always for the same information. In the case of Norway, you have some more things like professions and or dates and so on. But in the case of Hungary, you only have names. So you can only ask for a name of a person, or finding in the same page a name and a surname or things like that. It's not very. It's very simple, in fact. So if you go to one of these collections, then here you have in help and examples. You have a lot of examples of how to words that you can use, different constructions like wildcards, sequences of words. Instead, you can try one of these. No, this one for Zoltan. Maybe it's your parent or some relative. We found here this one. It's the same image, in fact, which is indexed twice. Total S1. Okay. So go to help and examples and try to exercise the examples that are there, and then use your imagination to do different things. Okay. Same for Norway. Then again you go to help and examples. You have a lot of things that you can try to search. In this case, these are a little bit more rich because, well, let's have a look at one of them. Because you have a table, in fact, where you have concepts and values, so you can ask for combination of concept and value using an combination, probably also with nearest specification. For instance, one of these examples would be I don't know, maybe this one. Or other one. This means to look for the word Stadsborg, which is in fact printed. So it's the concept, which is close 5% of the size of the image to Herford, I don't know how to, and close 50% of the image to Sveriges, which are supposed to be written nearby the word, the concept. Okay, I will not find it in this image, so I have to go. And here I find several of these images. Like this one. I find Severis. And Herfold is also, I didn't realize, this is also a printed one. This search interface is untagged. So the printed and handwriting tag, the distinction, is removed, and also it is removed the capitalization, so everything is searched for in capitals like this. Regardless how do you write your query, it is converted into capitals because the thing is indexed in capitals, everything. So this is much better for searching. It is not good for information extraction, but it is much better for searching. Okay? And similarly for the other collection, that I'm not going to go into these details. Before finishing, I wanted to, how much time I have? I don't know. This is the time left? Okay, 2 minutes. Okay, so in 2 minutes, I wanted to say one thing more. Probabilistic indexing can be used beyond searching, can be used for information extraction. Remember, a probabilistic index is just a text file containing a list of spots. A spot is just a record which contains the folder, page, the pseudo word, the probability, and the bounding box where the image is. And then you can put this text file into a spreadsheet or any database of your like, or that you like, and then do simple calculations like estimating the frequency of occurrence of words, the occurrence of words in the context of other words, etc. Okay? Using this approach, I have for the Spanish collection, we already did some information extraction that looks like this. For instance, the countries for which the passports or the visas were asked for. And then we get that 16 and 15.5 persons, 0.5 is because it is a probabilistically estimated frequency, wanted to go to España, or España in minuscule, lowercase, Española, which is an island, or Español. Okay, so Española should be removed from here, in fact. Then about 10% of the other destinations were France, Chile, and Brazil. Then another 10% of destinations were all somewhere in Europe, América del Sur, República Argentina, Estados Unidos, Alemania, etc. And then the remaining 1% went to Suiza, Belgica, and so on. So this can be easily done directly by using the probabilistic indexes with a spreadsheet. So you don't need much more power than that. Or you can extract things like the shops of the persons that were asking for the visas. You find that about 50% were empleado, jornalero, which is kind of empleado. This is someone that works for another. Sus labores is housekeeper. So these three shops accounted for 15% of the persons that are registered there. Then another 5% are comerciante, comercio, comerciante, so related with commerce, artista, artist, marino, which is seaman, and mozo, which is a lower rank profession related similar to jornalero. Then you get sacerdote, which is priest, camarero, waiter. This is an error, casado. Casado is not a shop, of course, but the automatic systems make errors. Abogado, which is lawyer, etc. Then you get estudiante, minero, etc., etc. So you get easily this kind of information from the probabilistic index itself without the need of any search engine or anything. You need only a simple database or a simple spreadsheet and some knowledge about how to estimate the frequencies of the word.
Thank you, Enrique. It was
I think that's it.
very detailed insight, and thank you also for the audience. I ask whether we have any questions online or here on site from the room. Okay, so thank you for your presentation. Thank you for you and Joan Andreu too. I think we learned a lot. We learned a lot about the details of this technology too, and it helps, I think, all of us to to consider how to handle it in the future, and what are the documents which is easy to process this way, and what are the collections which have less hope to have results with. So anyway, I think it's very important to understand for us, for archivists, so how this technology works, at least to plan better our projects. So for the audience, thank you for your attention, for your persistence at the end of this very long day. And you are welcome back tomorrow morning. We have 2 more sessions with also very interesting presentations, further 6 projects and presentations about from different kind of solutions from the archives and new technologies and innovation. So thank you for being here with us in this day.